I will move that House File 4867 be before us with the intent to lay the bill over. Good morning, Representative Lee. Welcome to the committee. Would you like to present your bill?
Sure, thanks. So thank you, Chair Kegel and members of the Commerce Committee. It's good to be back before the committee to talk about a bipartisan way that we can all fight against fraud for our constituents. Last year, you helped create a restitution fund for people who have been found by a judge to have been frauded. This year, we're back with some fixes to make sure that the fund helps the most people possible. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to turn it over to my testifiers, and we'll answer questions during Q&A. Thanks.
Welcome to the committee. I'm even not going to try. So if you would state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Jason Plegancool. I'm the manager of the Consumer Protection Division at the Attorney General's Office. The Attorney General's Office administers the Consumer Protection Restitution account. Just a little update about our administration. To date, we have deposited over $4.5 million into the fund and are certainly on track to meet the fiscal year cap on deposits this year, this first fiscal year of its administration. We are currently in the process, as we speak, of making our first distributions to eligible consumers from the fund. These are consumers that were harmed by the closure of Woodbury Dental Association, which was a dental practice that suddenly closed, kind of leaving consumers in the lurch with large deposits and unfinished dental work. We've received over 320 claims from consumers and are in the process of sending out a first wave of payments to 76 approved claimants, totaling over $1 million in restitution. We support passage of House File 4867. It will improve our administration of the fund by two principal means. It will remove the fiscal year cap on deposits that currently exists of $5 million. It won't change the funding mechanism at all, but it will allow us to continue to deposit funds into the account each year without having to worry about meeting that limit. It also will set a fair restitution distribution formula for eligible consumers and that's going to allow us to distribute funds to as many eligible consumers as possible with the money that's in the account. Without this change, despite the fact that there might be hundreds of consumers waiting in line for restitution, consumers that have an outsized amount of loss threaten to exhaust the fund to the detriment of other consumers. And so just as an example, the Attorney General's Office, the top 10 individual scams from consumers that we've heard from have losses just from 10 individuals that exceed $6.5 million. And so under the existing structure of the fund, if we were to make distributions to those individuals, that would completely more than exhaust the existing fund for all consumers across the state. And so for that reason, we support passage and happy to answer any questions any members have.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Louis Shostak. Welcome to the committee. If you could just state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Sure. It's Louise.
Oh, Louise,
Shostak.
sorry. I'm
Close enough. And I live in the east side of St. Paul. Go ahead. Okay. My name is Louise Shostak, and I'm a constituent of Representative Liz Lee, who has been most helpful helping me with my situation. I sought dental help from Woodbury Dental Arts in December of 2023. They wouldn't start the work until I paid $25,000 fee upfront. So in January of 2024, I had all my teeth extracted and the hardware for the implants put in. After a few weeks of healing, I went back in February to start the process of getting my implants. On March 5th, I was having my supper and a WCCO came on with a report of Woodbury Dental Arts abruptly closing their doors, leaving their patients high and dry. Needless to say, I was shocked and upset. My brother, who was here with me today, drove out there the next day with a sign. They had a sign on the door about closing and no further information. This has been a nightmare for me, not to mention the money I lost. I had to start over with another dentist who is wonderful. I now have new teeth, but in some ways it's still not what I expected. I'm still unable to chew and eat certain foods, but thankful for what I have compared to the day the clinic closed. I had to pay all over again, and am hoping to be reimbursed a lot of what I lost, and that is why I'm here today. This bill is very important to make sure there will be enough funds for many fraud victims like me who lost money to fraud for many years to come. Please support Representative Lee's bill. Thank you for listening to my story and helping fraud victims.
Thank you very much. Next up is Thomas Elnes. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Cagle, Chair O'Driscoll, and members. My name is Thomas Elnes. I serve as the Associate State Director of Advocacy with AARP Minnesota. I want to echo all of the comments of the previous speakers and thank you and the entire legislature for leading the nation last year in creating a consumer fraud restitution fund and helping victims like Louise and so many others. For the reasons that have already been stated, we support the bill. We think it's a good cleanup, really, of what we started last year, and would ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other members of the public wishing to testify? Seeing none, we'll move to member questions. Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Lee, I see that the bill, if I am reading this correctly, allows more dollars to flow into the restitution account, which, good. I'm glad to see that. I am wondering, though, we do have cases that were mentioned in testimony that exceed $50,000. If there's more dollars flowing in, is there a way to address some of those larger claims over time rather than just simply capping the amount at $50,000?
Representative Lee.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this proration question is a good question. I've been talking to your constituent, Representative Heinzman, and so understand the, just the distress that people go through when they've been frauded. I think this is, open for discussion. When we started the fund, it was unclear how much would come in every year. I do think that it is important to make sure that we help people in an equitable way, and so that this is our starting position. 50,000 is the total compensation is actually possibly 100,000. 50,000 is just what you would be restituted up to 100%, and so any claim, I think there's the sheet from AARP that kind of shows you or gives an example of how claims would be reimbursed under this proposal. It's to make sure that, if you've lost $2 million, that you don't exhaust the fund, but also understand that the way the bill is written right now, it's annual deposits, and there would be a line of people. And so this new structure helps the Attorney General's office make sure that we reimburse folks as much as possible.
Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a follow-up, Representative Lee. So I'm not sure if I heard that there'd be a willingness to make an adjustment, or if there is not. I know that it's not just more than my constituent that's affected by this. And I hope that to give this bill a better shot, that there might be interest in making an adjustment that over time, individuals who have suffered a loss greater than the limits in your bill could potentially be made whole as more dollars come into the account. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Representative Hewitt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just a quick question, maybe it's the AGs that can answer this, and it kind of just applies to when you're going after individuals or companies that do this. Do the companies, can you touch their A&G, their errors and admission insurance for some of this stuff? I mean, it's fraud, but does that not apply? I'm just, what I'm hearing in retrospect, as many of these places get out of your reach, they leave the country, whatever, and so you have somebody with a zero assets to, can you go after if they had, insurance at one time?
Mr. Plagencool?
Yeah, so we would try to exhaust all collection efforts against someone we obtain a judgment from. So the answer would be yes. We would do our best to try. And what the fund does is it doesn't foreclose us continuing to pursue collection efforts against a judgment. And anything that we pay out of the fund, but then subsequently do collect from the defendant would be reimbursed to the fund. So it doesn't foreclose our ability to attempt to collect from defendants, but sometimes that's very difficult or impossible.
Representative Hewitt?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for that answer. Now, the other thing, I don't know if anybody here can answer it. Are these funds, once they're returned to the victim, are they taxed, or are they considered a settlement and they are not taxed?
Representative Lee?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, well, because Chair Rest is the Senate co-lead, we actually made sure to put in a provision to make this not taxable because you've already been taxed when you get your money. So.
Representative Hewitt?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, any other members? Seeing none, thank you so much. Representative Lee, any final thoughts to the bill?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So, yeah, again, thank you for helping create the Fraud Restitution Fund in the first place. I would reiterate this is a starting position to make sure that the funds are distributed to as many people as possible. And so removing the cap is really important. We can talk about the details of the proration as this bill moves forward to May 17th. So thanks.
Thank you. With that, Representative Lee, thank you. And I move that House File 4867 be laid over. The bill is laid over.